Leah Nevills, and today I will be teaching you how to create a myth. Before I begin, I would like to show you an interesting video. The video you just watched is an example of a Greek myth. I will be teaching you how to create one. All Greek myths usually include certain characteristics. One of those characteristics are gods or goddesses. For example, this is the god Zeus. He is usually in the background of almost every Greek myth. Another thing that appears in Greek myths are creatures, such as the Minotaur or Pegasus. Almost all Greek myths have a problem, and the person who usually solves that problem is the hero, like in the example of Theseus in the maze. Theseus had to go through the maze to find the Minotaur and fight him. Myths usually explain natural events. The example we saw earlier in the video was the Greek myth of Hades and Persephone. The seasons changed because Demeter was unhappy that her daughter Persephone had been kidnapped. So every few months when her daughter was away from her, the seasons fall and winter occurred because she was sad. Now I'm going to show you an example of what I would do in a classroom if I was actually teaching this. I would have a volunteer come up to the board and tell me how they would write a myth. A volunteer, please. We would begin by me asking her what she wants to explain. Lee, what kind of event would you want to explain?
The moon.
The moon?
Yes.
In the classroom, I would ask her, would you like to draw this or find a picture?
Draw.
What color would you like to use?
Green.
Draw your moon in the middle, because that's what we're going to explain.
Okay.
What about the moon are you wanting to explain?
Why it's full of holes.
Your question is, why is it full of holes?
Yes.
Would you like any characters in your myth?
Yes. I would like Pegasus.
Would you like to draw Pegasus or find a picture?
I'd like to find a picture, please.
I'll let you type it in.
Oh, okay. Where?
When the keyboard comes up.
Okay.
In a classroom, I would ask the other students the same question and have them write down the answer that they thought would work. Oops, hang on. Now I'm going to let Lee pick the picture that she wants.
Can I change to a unicorn? Because I don't see a Pegasus.
Yes, you can.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now, what did your unicorn do in your myth?
My unicorn was trying to play ball with the moon.
What problem did the unicorn have, or did the unicorn have a problem with the ball?
It had a problem because every time it tried to hit it with its head like the other horses, it kept poking holes.
That's a very good observation. So we can take a picture. So you're telling me that the holes in the moon are from the unicorn's horn?
Yes.
Okay. Now in a classroom, I would have more than one volunteer, and each of the kids could come up and talk about the myth that they would be explaining to me. And on the web quest that I had, which is what this lesson is based off of, each student had a myth information sheet, and they would tell me what exactly they were explaining, the characters that were in their myth, and where this myth took place. So in a real classroom setting, I would ask Lee, where do you think this myth would take place?
In the sky.
In the sky?
Okay.
Another thing you could talk about in the classroom is how sometimes we have to make more than just a myth. So maybe if she wanted a god or goddess in her myth, she could create her own instead of using the ones that are from Greek. And I think that's going to be it for the Smartboard notebook. Something I found on the internet which would help during this lesson, and you could incorporate it into it after you were done using the Smartboard, would be this myth machine. And I would have another volunteer, or a couple of other volunteers to come up and do this. In a real classroom setting, I would ask our volunteer to come up and make their own myth. And these are the buttons that you use to go back and forth, and that's where you just drag it onto it.
Okay.
Okay.
The button to change it.
Mm-hmm. And just click on it when you want it. Now, Lee, why did you choose the sea?
Because I like the water.
You like the water?
Yes.
Who is this person in your myth?
Morgana.
Oh, like in the Arthurian myth.
Yes, I like myths.
Is she going to fight the monster, or is someone going to save her from the monster?
Can her and the monster be on the same side?
Yes, they can. They could be fighting something else. What do you think they would be fighting?
The sea monster under the water that we can't
There's a
see.
sea monster under the water?
Mm-hmm.
Draw me what this sea monster would look like. Right there.
looks like. So this is the best representation that we have.
I think that is very nice. Thank you, Lee. Hang on. After I had explained what exactly a myth was and we had talked about the different characteristics, I would show them the end result. Because in the lesson they would have to make a storyboard of their myth and what was in their myth and what natural event they were explaining. So at the end of this lesson, I would show global learners what exactly they needed to do. This is an example I found on Storybird, which is what their final product would look like. In a classroom of 4th graders, I would usually have them read the story to me or have different volunteers read different parts. And so you would begin the story. Once there was a very wise rabbit named Dedulus, and you would continue and you would probably stop here and there and ask them what kind of things they see that we had talked about. So we would talk about how there were 2 humans that had to solve a problem. They were doing mythical things like flying. And we could talk about how sometimes the representations of different myths are different for other people. So in this case, the 2 humans are actually rabbits. And we would talk about what they would have to do. And that is my lesson. Thank you.